No one knew why Elliot did it. Maybe it was the decades of staring at screens, the slow death of wonder, the endless days that bled into each other, or maybe he just wanted to feel gravity fight him to the end. The tunnel had taken 42 years to drill, a global project, part scientific experiment, part monument to human hubris, a perfectly vertical shaft stretching from somewhere in Patagonia all the way to the plains of Inner Mongolia, reinforced walls, vacuum sealed to eliminate air resistance, temperature controlled to counter the brutal heat of the core. They called it the Earth Line. Elliot stood at the edge of the platform, surrounded by blinking consoles and silent engineers. The world watched on screens as he took a breath. No suit, no parachute. Just a jumpsuit with biometric sensors and a helmet cam. He looked down. The hole swallowed light after the first few meters. It was like peering into infinity. He stepped off. At first there was nothing, just the drop, the familiar lurch of freefall, but the absence of air made it eerily silent. His stomach remained at his throat, pressed by the constant acceleration. He watched the digital counter on his wrist tick upward, 9.8 meters per second squared, always faster. The walls flashed by. Lights embedded every kilometer for scientific monitoring streaked past like shooting stars. At the halfway point near the core, Elliot reached his maximum velocity, over 28,000 kilometers per hour. He felt weightless, like floating in a dream, yet every muscle tensed from the forces that had built like a storm around him. Then came the deceleration. Gravity, which had been his constant ally, turned. As he passed the center of the earth, it began pulling him back. Not instantly, but with a slow persistence, like a lover trying to hold on. He was no longer falling. He was rising. The ground he had aimed for began receding again, becoming once more the sky above him. He slowed. Slower, slower still. He came to a stop just shy of the other side, in the dark silence of the shaft's final kilometer. Then gravity began to drag him back down. The world had expected this. Oscillation, like a pendulum. He'd fall back and forth through the earth, each swing shorter, until he settled at the center, hovering in eternal balance. But that wasn't what happened. As he rose again toward the Patagonian sky, lights on his wrist flickered, then failed. A flicker in the vacuum, a spark from a forgotten circuit. No one noticed the minor error, but in that lifeless tunnel, it was enough. A whisper of gas escaped the walls. The perfect vacuum faltered. The shaft filled with the tiniest trace of resistance, barely measurable, but real. On his return fall, Elliot was slightly slower. By his fourth swing, he no longer reached the surface. On his 10th, he stalled far from either end, lost in miles of darkness. And on the 30th, he stopped, midway, alone. He floated in the heart of the world, weightless and silent. No sound, no motion, just a man suspended in the belly of Earth, where up and down had lost all meaning. Some say he's still there, drifting, waiting. Others believe he became the first to touch the perfect center, where all things pull equally and nothing wins. A man who found stillness by surrendering to the deepest fall imaginable. And maybe, just maybe, that was what he'd wanted all along.